I always told myself that when Henry passed on, I'd finally let that old house breathe again. For 52 years I tiptoed around that one locked door at the end of the hallway, pretending I didn't care what was behind it. But the truth is, child, it haunted me. So, on the morning after his funeral, while the sun was just barely warming the frost on the windows, I stood in front of that door with the key he'd worn on a chain close to his heart, and my hands trembled so hard I could barely fit it into the lock. When the door clicked open, it sounded like the whole house exhaled. I wish you could have seen the dust swirling in that thin beam of light from the hallway, dancing like spirits that had been trapped too long. I pushed the door open, slow and careful, the way you ease your way into cold water. And baby, that room wasn't empty like he always said. Not even close. I could feel my breath catching in my chest as I stepped inside. It smelled like old paper and secrets, that kind of scent that hits you in the back of the throat and tells you, about to learn something you can unlearn. Boxers, stacks and stacks of boxes, lined the walls, neat labeled, precise. Henry always had a way of being tidy with the things he shouldn't have been tidy with. For a moment, I just stood there, holding onto the doorframe like I might faint. After all those years cooking his meals, raising our children, sitting next to him at church, taking care of his mother when she fell ill. After all that, I didn't even know what my own husband had been hiding right under my roof. My heart was tapping against my ribs like it wanted out. I bent down and opened the first box I saw. Letters, hundreds of them. Some of them were written by me, my handwriting from when I was 19, curled and hopeful. But he never let me mail those letters. I knew that, because I stopped writing him years before I even married him. The letters were all addressed to my parents. Parents I barely remembered. Parents he told me didn't want anything to do with me after I married him. My hands shook as I opened one. And baby, that's when I felt the ground shift beneath me. My parents didn't abandon me. They reached out again and again. They begged to see me. They wrote about money they'd set aside for me, part of an inheritance. They talked about visiting on holidays, about helping when our children were born, about wanting to be part of my life. Tears blurred the words until I couldn't read anymore. For years, decades, I believed I was alone because they didn't care. But the truth sat heavy in my lap. Henry kept every letter from me, every invitation, every check, every attempt they made to love me. I pressed my hand to my mouth and let out a sound I didn't know I had inside me. It wasn't a sob. It was the kind of cry a woman makes when her whole life suddenly looks different than she remembered. And there were receipts, 2 bank withdrawals, signatures that didn't look like mine, money taken from accounts I thought we shared, journals with entries about keeping her close, making sure she depends on me. She doesn't need them. I have to protect what's mine. Mine. That word hit me like a slap. I thought Henry loved me. Maybe in his own way he did, but it wasn't the love I deserved. It was the kind that cages you while pretending to keep you safe. I couldn't breathe for a moment. The room felt smaller, like the walls were leaning in. I sat on a little wooden stool he'd placed against the far wall, probably the same one he used whenever he came in here to keep track of whatever lies he was tending to. I wiped my eyes on my sleeve and opened one more box. Inside was a single envelope, yellowed, curled at the edges, tied with a bit of twine, like it was something precious. It was addressed to him, from him. I stared at it for a long time before I had the strength to pull it open. His handwriting was shaky, desperate. If she finds out, it said, she'll leave, she'll go back home, she'll take the children, she'll have her parents' money, and I'll lose her. I can't let that happen. I can't live without her. Controlling the situation is the only way to keep her. I had to put the letter down. My head was spinning. My chest felt tight. I'd spent most of my life thinking I just wasn't enough, wasn't loved, wasn't wanted by my own people. I stayed because I thought Henry saved me from a world that didn't want me. But baby, the world didn't push me out. Henry locked the door. He locked every door he thought might lead me away. And for the first time in 52 years, I saw my life for what it had been. Not a love story, but a carefully tended prison made to look like a home. You'd think I would have hated him then, that I would have cursed his name, or torn those boxes apart with my bare hands. But I didn't. I just sat there on that little stool and cried for the girl I once was. For the young woman who believed the man she married knew what was best for her. For the mother who thought she didn't deserve anything more than what she had. When the tears finally slowed, I stood up, wiped my cheeks, and walked out of that room. But not before leaving the door wide open behind me. Later that evening, I called my children and told them the truth. They sat there in my living room, listening with wide eyes as I explained everything Henry had done, how he isolated us, controlled the money, filtered the mail, made us dependent on him for everything. My daughter cried. My son clenched his jaw, angry he never saw it, angry at himself for all the times he thought I was just being forgetful or overly emotional. But I wasn't. I was surviving. And when I finished telling them everything, I felt free. For the first time in my life, I felt like my voice belonged to me. The next morning, I went into that room one more time. I gathered up those letters from my parents, held them to my chest, and whispered, "I'm sorry I didn't know. I'm sorry he kept us apart. I'm sorry I didn't come home." But then I smiled a little, because I realized something. My parents never stopped loving me. That love had lived quietly in the dark, waiting for me to find it. And now, finally, I spent the whole day cleaning out that room, not with anger, but with purpose. With every box I opened, every secret I uncovered, every document I shredded or saved, I felt pieces of myself returning. I was reclaiming my own story, page by page. When I was done, the room was empty except for the sunlight coming through the window. And baby, let me tell you, that sunlight felt like a blessing, like the universe saying, "Welcome back." I stood in the doorway, hand on my heart, and whispered the lesson that took me a lifetime to learn. When you open the doors you fear most, you open the door to freedom. I want you to remember that, my dear ones. Don't let anyone keep you small. Don't let fear or love or obligation trap you behind a locked door. You deserve to know the truth. You deserve happiness that doesn't come with chains. And you deserve to be free, truly free. Thank you for listening to my story, my dear ones. If this touched your heart even a little, please subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and share it with someone who might need it today. Your support means more than you know.